What's up, guys? So it looks like Kevin Durant is in another Twitter beef slash rant slash battle with Stephen A. Smith. So obviously, you guys already know Stephen A. Smith is one of the most known sports basketball commentators in the world. Very famously named on ESPN. Very handsomely paid as well, I might add. $12 million. Again, I don't agree with everything Stephen A. Smith says, but I do watch First Take. I respect what he says. I don't agree with it, but there's a reason that man is on front national television and has a large platform and a large audience watching him every single day on First Take. And so Kevin Durant, as we all know, responds to everybody on Twitter. I mean, it could be a dog. He's going to respond to them on Twitter. As I'm trying to get this thing real quick set up. So Stephen A. Smith said that Steph Curry changed basketball for better while MJ changed it for the worse. Michael Jordan was responsible as much as anybody for changing the game of basketball. And this is on First Take's Twitter account. So I'm going to play it for you guys right now. And this is what he said.
All of this is, I just think you're pointing the finger in the wrong direction. This is why Stephen A. Smith is here to the rescue, baby. That's why I'm here for you. Here's the deal. It's not Steph Curry's fault because Steph Curry.
And I guess the question was, has Curry changed the game for better or worse? This was before game one between Boston and Golden State.
He elevated it to a point where it was acceptable because you're looking for somebody to produce somewhere close in the vicinity of what he does and what Klay Thompson does to a slightly lesser degree, okay? But the reality is, you know who the biggest culprit for all of this is? It's Mike D'Antoni. He knows that. He played for Mike D'Antoni. Mike D'Antoni wanted you to shoot threes or layups.
Now, how long is this video? Because it's like 4 minutes. But I'm just trying to find, okay.
Except for me. I mean, I shot a lot of mid-range.
Not you. But those guards that you put out there,
absolutely.
If they launch mid-range shots instead of three, doggy.
Yeah, true. I mean, well, if they're talking about, oh, look, Amari's on there. Well, I guess he's trying to point out that the fact that Steph Curry, made it normal and okay to shoot, like, literally half court all those three-point shots. And now, like, you see that a game in high school, and it's like, wow, drive to the basket. It's like, no, I want to stop out and shoot a three.
I believe is the greatest player to have ever played. Michael Jordan is responsible as much as anybody for changing the game for the worse. When you consider you. Stay with me on this.
Okay. How does this make any sense,
shade
though?
On Michael Jordan, of course. He's the greatest ever, in my estimation. Number one, all right? But he was so phenomenal that the NBA market.
I don't get what he's saying. I don't get what he's saying. I don't get what Stephen A. Smith is saying.
The game became a bit more individualized because people wanted to be.
Because people wanted to be like Michael Jordan because it was an iconic figure, he changed the game for the worse.
As great of a shooter as Bird was, as Mr. Clutch as he was.
Okay, I'm trying to understand here. I just to get the full context of this thing, it doesn't make any sense.
He had Gerald Henderson. He had a whole bunch, Danny Ainge and others. They had a team, all right? Blue collar, but team. Well, what was Magic? Magic was Showtime. As phenomenal as Magic was, what was his number one attribute? Passing.
He had some electric ass passes. But I still don't get what Stephen A. Smith is saying.
All right,
I'm gonna end this video because I don't get what he's trying to say here. And when you see a lot of like quote retweets, that means you didn't really say a good point. But okay, so he says Steph Curry changed the game for the better while MJ changed it for the worse. Meanwhile, every high schooler and middle schooler and guys who playing at Rucker Park and Blacktop and LA Fitness gyms are shooting threes every possession, not driving to the basket. They're shooting half court logo threes, not driving to the basket, not passing the basketball. So in terms of how the fundamentals of the game is supposed to be played for basketball, Steph Curry is responsible for making it worse because everybody thinks that they're Steph Curry because they think that they could just come up, pull up from three, and not have any consequences on the offensive end because of it. It's like, no, that's not how you play real team basketball. Now, again, that's not really Steph Curry's fault because he has the ability to do that. But when you try to mimic somebody who is literally once in a lifetime type of shooter, you're going to have nonsense, shooting and plays like that on the court. So this is what Kevin Durant said. Kevin Durant said, my theory is that guys like Steve, Skip, and Shannon have changed the game for the worse. Plays like Stephen A. and Michael Jordan can only push the game forward, which is okay. Like he's saying, like, hey, these guys who are revolutionary making the game better because they're making it more excitement. They're adding a new flavor to it, in which is bringing in new fans. It's like, oh, look, when you look at Steph Curry play, you're thinking like, wait a minute. He's 6'3", he's not 6'8". You know, he doesn't jump out the gym, but he can shoot, and he could shoot from anywhere. And he could literally be, he's like a regular person walking down the street, but has such long range abilities. Like, wait a minute. If all I need to know is shoot the ball well, I could possibly make it to the NBA. That's what somebody's thinking. And so that, you know, that's where a lot of people are thinking as well too. And I agree with what Kevin Durant said here. So then Stephen A. Smith responded back saying, news for you at KD Trey 5. We ain't going no damn place. For every Stephen A. Smith, Skip, at Shannon Sharp, and others, there are thousands more coming down the pike. We're not going away. We multiply. Sorry. And then KD had the most epic response to Stephen A. Smith when he literally replied to his man in his own meme. When Stephen A. was like, we don't care. This is some like, see, this is why Kevin Durant is such a savage on Twitter, because he'll go after anybody. Now, a lot of people say he called him soft, this and that. I call KD soft time to time. But in this instance, he's right, because, especially, I'm looking at it from this perspective. Guys like Stephen A. Smith, Shannon Sharp, Skip Bayless, all these, quote-unquote sports commentators, they get paid a very nice living to talk about athletes. That's what they get. That's what they do on a day-to-day basis. They have podcasts, they have debate shows, all that type of stuff. Everybody has an opinion. But when a player has an opinion and claps back at people who have opinions about them, it's a problem. And it's like, no, you get paid to talk about me. So when I come in and say an opinion that you don't like, or a different opinion, and come and correct you, it's an issue. You know what we call it, ladies and gentlemen? That is called hypocrisy. That is called a double standard. And usually KD, he'll say some crazy things on Twitter, but what he said was respectful. He said, listen, guys, like, these on-air commentators change the game for the worse, because they're always they're pushing their own narratives. Now, to Stephen A. Smith's points a little bit, guys like that who have those debate shows, those media shows, have made the sports more a little bit popular, because now with the 24-hour news cycle, you continue to talk about these players and the news and the events, and you even put a little storyline behind it because it catches people's interest. What do humans love the most in sports? They love drama. They love storytelling. That's what the media is doing. That's the media's job. Whether it's, sometimes they do a crappy job at it, at pushing their own narrative, but that's what they do to keep fans interested. Because if they're tuning into First Take or Undisputed or The Herd, they're also tuning in to the NBA games, to the NFL games, to the soccer, to the hockey games, because they're getting paid to talk about the stuff. Because listen, you're not going to keep watching highlights of games every single day, but you will watch a 2-3 hour debate show. It's like, wait a minute, let me see what this guy has to say about this specific player against that specific player, So that does keep fan interest a little bit longer to a certain event of a sport that happened the night before or a couple of days before. But I'm just thinking maybe this is where Kevin Durant is coming from. The perspective that, okay, well, you have all these quote unquote, sports commentators who debate and give harsh critique about us, and they are fair sometimes. It was like, well, they're able to push their own narratives, and so when we call back and we say something back at them, it's like, well, it doesn't, why you clap back at me, blah blah. So I kind of see both sides of it. The one thing I really don't like about KD is that I feel like KD has this feeling, or this perspective, or this opinion that if you did not play in the NBA, you can't talk about basketball, which I think is stupid. It makes no sense, because I'm about to school KD on this and show him why. Sam Presti, the guy who drafted you out of Texas, he didn't make it to the NBA, but he knows basketball. He drafted you, James Harden, and Russell Westbrook. You guys made it to the NBA Finals in 2012. And look what you turned out to be, Kevin Durant. But Sam Presti never played in the NBA, so is his opinion and critique and analysis of basketball disqualified? Greg Popovich never played NBA basketball. He's one of the greatest coaches of all time, 5-time NBA champion. Is his critique, breakdown, commentary, and analysis of NBA basketball incorrect? You got coaches, plenty of coaches, excuse me, in the NBA who never played NBA basketball, but yet they won championships. They won a lot of games. They made it to conference finals. They made it to NBA finals. Is their critique, commentary, analysis of the game doesn't matter because they never made it to that level? You see, you do not need to play something at a high level to talk about the game. Let me give you an example. If you were in a car and you're in a car with somebody and you watching them drive for a very, very long time, eventually you will learn how to drive. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're in the car and watching somebody put the car in park, gear, blah, blah, all this and that, drive, they do parallel parking, and you constantly watch it and you break it down and you study it, eventually you will do the same thing too because it's repetition. So if I'm watching somebody learn how to drive, that means I could break down and learn how to drive myself, or break down and comment on what they're doing because it's a repetitive thing. So I don't like when these players do that. It was like, oh, if you never played the game of basketball, you can't talk about this, but yet they listen to their coaches and their general managers who doing these trades, who never played in the NBA, but they listen to critique and analysis about basketball. So it's like, you don't like it when people who are in the media, who are licensed to give these opinions because they've been writing for so long and covering the game for so long, give it because you don't like it. But yeah, you don't have that same energy towards your front office teams and personnel. I find that very, very interesting. So I just think it's stupid, you know. But again, hey, Kevin Durant, he's always going to be Kevin Durant. He's always going to be on Twitter. And listen, I have no problem with KD responding. A lot of people make it a big deal. Oh, KD, why do you feel the need to respond? You're Kevin Durant. That's what make Kevin Durant Kevin Durant. KD don't be budging into your life and what you be posting on social media. KD don't care about y'all. KD's like, listen, I like to respond to people on IG, and it doesn't affect his game whatsoever. So why you worried about what that other man doing if it ain't affecting your money, making sure your bills is paying, all that type of stuff? So again, just another media they like to flip back and forth. But you know, let me know what you guys think about this whole Kevin Durant and Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp and Stephen A. Smith situation. I believe Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless responded to it on Undisputed. They didn't really have much negative things to say about it, and I'm not gonna, you know, look up their clip because I know somewhere if I type in Undisputed and I miss today's shows, they're gonna talk about Brady, LeBron, or the Cowboys on one of those segments. But it's just, you know, I don't, it's much to do about nothing. But let me know what you guys think about the whole exchange between KD and Stephen A. Smith. Don't forget to like, comment, share this video out to your friends, family members, and loved ones. I will see you guys later. Peace.